I'm Emanuele Cocha. I'm Associate Professor at the School for Advanced Social Sciences in Paris. I've worked a lot about ecological issues. I've read 2 books on this topic. The one was The Life of Plants, which was the idea that the plants have created our world, and to study the world means to study the plants, and the other way around, to study plants means to understand what is our world. And the second book is Metamorphosis, which is an attempt to show that each living being is transforming a precedent and form of life. Now I'm working a lot with artists in Art Foundation, and I'm also working a lot with fashion designer and fashion brands. I just published a book with Alessandro Michele, the creative director of Valentino. So the experience of collaborating with Yuko Asagawa, the director and the curator of the show, was extremely important for me. It implied a huge amount of research in the sense of also exploring countries, cultures, artists, of course. And I would say that there were at least three main ideas that that in the dialogue came out. First of all, the idea that, in a way, unlike what normally is considered to be, every single human culture has a deep relationship with nature, and it was important in this show to show that this relationship to nature is shaped differently, but it's there in every single culture. So we wanted to gather every single human culture here. And the second idea is that the deepest relationship to culture is produced by to nature is produced by art. So art is really the way how we can have an access to the most spiritual part of nature, and that's why inviting cultural artists within a museum means not to do just natural science, but to have an empathic connection with nature. That's why the title of the show was Dancing with All, because once every single living being is coming to the museum, then nature is no more the space of thermodynamic balance. It's a space of a shared dance, a shared empathy. So this was the idea, and then of course we discussed a lot about artists and contributions, and I had the chance that one of the pieces I did with an Italian designer duo whose name is Forma Fantasma was also in the show. It's a film where we give a voice to a tree, which is telling to the public the history of the relationship between trees and humanity. So the exhibition is, to me, extremely important, first of all, for the story of this building, which is one of the most amazing museums that have ever built, because it's in a way, it radicalizes the gesture which is embodied in the architectural structure defined by Sana. So in a way, the idea is that the museum is not just the gathering of the city, the gathering of cultures, it's now the gathering of all the planet. We opened, so to say, the museum to every living being, every part of nature. And it's also a way to rethink what art is, because what is interesting, I think, in this exhibition, now that I can see it in a sensitive way, is that it's a trajectory, not just it's a trip in the world, it's a trip in the planet, but also it's a way to learn differently humanity, nature, and so on. I think that in this exhibition it's quite evident in which sense art has become perhaps the most important, and museums have become the most important platform to produce and communicate knowledge nowadays. I think that we live in a world where the need of a new platform, new institutions, new forms of production and distribution of knowledge is extremely urgent. Universities are no more able to do that, and the new institutions should have at least 3 or 4 features. The first one is is that we should stop to think that that everyone has to learn just between 20 and 24, just in a specific age. The world is changing very quickly, and we have to learn at every age, even with 50, 60, 70. So the new platform should be open to every single age, not just to every single classes. The second point is that we have to stop to consider that learning is produced just by verbal communication. So the new institutions should accept that exactly like a museum, a very important idea, a very important knowledge can be embodied in a sculpture, in a smell, in an image, and so on. So should use every single kind of media. And the third point, which is perhaps the most difficult but the most important, we live in a world that has changed radically, and every single heritage or background is not enough in order to solve the challenge of the climate change, of the new financial and geopolitical balance. And that's why we have to build a new planetary culture, and the new platform should be planetary. It cannot be local anymore. It cannot be national anymore. It cannot be like linked to one single culture. It should be the place exactly like in museum where every culture gather and start to talk together and to produce something new. My message to the audience is study. It's not the time to be we do not have any idea of how the world is structured today. The world has changed. We have to produce new cartography, new maps of the world. So the very first task before involving yourself in something else, before being active in something else, it's study again the world. This is the most important task. Study, study, study.